Welcome to this week's edition of Red and Black Sport. Well, you've got to hand it to Scott Robertson. He got his team up in a nail-biter at Taranaki. Beautiful afternoon to be playing rugby as well. But the highlight really was that one of my teams in ITM, Hawke's Bay, will have the shield over the summer. Yeah, 20-all draw, drop kick on full time. It was an outstanding game of rugby. Southland played all the football and go home empty-handed. And I remember Grizz years ago saying the easiest team talk he ever gave in a season was, if you want to be heroes over the summer, keep the shield in the last game. And that's exactly what Hawke's Bay have done, and I hope they have a wonderful, wonderful spin with it. Shame for Southland. And of course, Tasman. Well, all eyes are on Tasman, and they went down. County's just too good for them in the end, but gee, they play a great style of rugby. And it's been resolved now. Canterbury will travel to Nelson, and they'll take on the arch rivals in the franchise, Tasman, and that should be a rip snorter. It really should be. Will Dan Carter play, of course, will be one of the big questions. So that was one of the highlights for me to see my two other teams go around the park. And isn't it something special, afternoon rugby? And what a great crowd they had in Blenheim too. Full marks to them for the counties game. They turned out in their 1,000. They made it Ladies' Day. Pretty inspirational thing to do in rugby, I would have thought, and it certainly worked. Whether it was the SBW factor playing there, I'm not quite sure, that got the ladies along, but who knows. But today we talk about great news for New Zealand tennis. Better news, though, for Tennis Canterbury. We are finally getting to host another Davis Cup tie. Now, I've been involved with Davis Cup ties in Canterbury for many, many years, and there's no doubt about it. Everyone will tell you, even in the Trans-Tasman tournament that we used to run here, the exhibition games, nobody turns up in bigger numbers than Canterbury people, and it's fair to probably say there is no more intelligent tennis following fan than Cantabs. Why not? You know, we're a huge district for tennis. I think so many home courts has made a big difference as well. But we wait now with, well, a bit of saliva dropping down your lips, really, just looking forward to seeing Davis Cup tie. But to tell us about it, we're joined by the CEO of Tennis Canterbury, Neil Pryor. Neil, big achievement, but a lot of work ahead, isn't it?
Great intro, Pete. Yeah, there is a lot of work ahead. It's a big gig, and it's exciting to have it back in Christchurch for sure. It's been a long time since we've had it here, so we really want to put on a great show. But
not all the reasons of not having it here, though, can't be related to the earthquake, can they? They moved it around to some other districts, and you know, Canterbury sort of just lost the plot a little bit in being able to get it.
Tennis New Zealand did move it around the districts, and I think they wanted to try and showcase tennis out in the regions, and that's great. I think it also coincided with New Zealand dropping off the radar just a little bit around Davis Cup, falling out of the world group, so it was an opportunity to take it to some of the smaller regions.
So tell everybody out there the significance of this Davis Cup tie. Who are we playing?
Big Chinese Taipei.
And they are a force.
They will be, and I'm sure you'll hear from Mel soon about how strong they will be. This will be a tough tie, for sure. You know, the two teams will be pretty closely matched, and Al will talk through the teams. But this is going to be pretty tough, so really need those Cantabs to turn up.
I tell you what, we went down and had a look at it, my producer and myself the other day had a look, and it's not going to be played on centre court, I can tell you that. I don't think it's changed one bit since the earthquake, and it's actually quite a lasting memorial. Outside courts, they've done a wonderful job at Wilding Park, no two ways about it. So it's going to be played indoors. That comes with its own logistical problems, I presume, does it?
Yes, it does. Yep. The ITF, the International Tennis Federation, have got some pretty stringent requirements around things like court measurements and runoffs and that type of thing. Roof heights, all of those things come into play.
Warm-up courts?
Yep, the availability of warm-up courts. But look, all of that can be done. It's well accommodated in the indoor centre at Wilding.
You look back now and you probably think how prudent it was to make sure that you got that up and running really before anything else, the indoor centre. Yep,
we went 15 months without that facility, and that was hard because our junior development program took a bit of a hit because of it. They couldn't train through the winter. So it's really great to have that back on stream, and with the outdoor courts as well. We've got a functioning interim tennis centre, which is great.
Now, it can be a half full, half empty scenario, this. It's being played over Labour weekend. We do have a bit of an exodus out of Canterbury over Labour weekend, particularly the Sounds, Akaroa, that sort of thing. But I'm right in saying that we are the most knowledgeable crowd in tennis in New Zealand, aren't we?
Of course we are, Pete.
Yeah, I think they are, and we're going to talk to a former player and what it meant to him. But so tickets are on sale now.
Yes,
Right.
they are on sale now. And the whole Labour weekend thing, don't really buy into that, Pete, to be perfectly honest. We know our tennis community are going to get right behind this, and so they should. They've been starved of international tennis for quite some time now. So if they don't get behind it, I'm not sure exactly what we need to do to get them there.
But it's a tough sell, isn't it? There's a lot of requirements you've got to meet by the international body, and so they should. I mean, there's huge money invested in Davis Cup, isn't it, by sponsors and advertisers, etc., globally.
Absolutely, there is. You know, this is the World Cup of tennis, played between nations internationally.
And am I right? Everything's on that same weekend around the world? I think it is.
I think there are a number of ties that are played around about the same time. So
will the heavyweights be coming out? The boys from the World Tennis Body?
The ITF boys, yes, they'll be there.
You're under the microscope, Brian.
Look, hey, we've got to put on a good show. There's no doubt about that, and we are going to do that. But there's a bit of pressure on, especially for a small organisation like ours, where there's not a whole lot of resource in the place. So it's all hands to the deck, and
I'm sure we'll acquit ourselves well.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so it's Labour weekend. We'll get the times and all the rest of it. But a guy who's iconic with Davis Cup, and as I say, I've been around a long time with Davis Cup. I was just reminding before we went to air just about the tie at the tennis centre in Timaru. It was against Japan. And we were, funnily enough, I was staying in the same hotel as the team were, and I watched this guy crawl up the stairs of the Grosvenor Hotel after the first singles rubber.
Oh, that didn't sound good.
It was unbelievable, mate. He had played a five-setter that he just played out of his skin. And the nerve of the whole thing, a good Canterbury, Glenn Wilson was the team captain in those days, and I said to him in the bar later on, I said, Hunty will sleep for a week. He said, he better not, he's playing the doubles tomorrow. Hunty, does it flash back through your mind, that particular tie?
I know that was a great tie. I mean, I'm a big fan of playing at home, obviously. Just, rapt to have it back in Christchurch, and, you had that Timaru tie, and it's great to get back to the smaller towns and do the local thing.
You come back this time as the New Zealand captain, so a slightly different role for you, but you have been away with the boys before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been in this role. This will be the second year, so sort of know what's going on there. But just looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great weekend, and our boys rock into town next week, so it'll be good.
Is it the epitome of tennis to play a Davis Cup tie?
Oh, for sure. I think as a young fella, all you want to do, and in any sport, you want to play for your country. So, look, for me, it's I've been very lucky to play and then move on to captain.
How many years did you play?
10 or 12, I think.
It'd be about a dozen, I would have thought. Yeah, and your record was not bad, actually, was it?
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, can't complain.
Only because he just got down and grovelled. He really did. I tell you what, he just didn't give it away. All right, when we come out, I've got a question I'm going to pose to the boys. I want you to work out the significance of the tie that I am wearing here today, okay? Think about it, come back with the answer, and we'll see if we can. Speaking of winning, we'll give you a chance to be at the Davis Cup tie on Labour weekend when we come back. Welcome back. We're talking Davis Cup tie. It's here in Canterbury in the indoor centre, so no weather problems, none whatsoever. It's being held Labour weekend, which is the weekend after next, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And it's a very important tie, as you've heard Neil Pryor say, but every tie for the captain, Alistair Hunt, is important. Why is this so important for the New Zealand side, Alistair?
This will consolidate us to stay in Group 1 then. So obviously, the last couple of years we've been up and down with Group 1 and Group 2. Mm-hmm. So really need to stay there this year.
The likes in Group 1, give us some countries that are there.
They're your sort of bigger countries, obviously, the ones we're playing. But if we drop down to that Group 2, we're back to sort of Lebanons and those ones, which are pretty tough. I mean, as in, you're travelling over there playing those guys. Yeah. They're not strong nations, but you've got to invest a lot of money to go and play. So it's it's a catch-22 situation
as well, testing conditions.
Yeah. So we want to stay out of that sort of side of it.
Yeah. How do we get the tie in New Zealand in this case? It's just luck of the draw or whatever?
Draws and results.
Yeah. So it's based on results. So every step is important, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. It's fair to say we haven't got top 10 tennis players coming out our ears to pick a New Zealand side. And if anything, there's been a bit of a drain of players. Who have you got to look for, mate? Who have you got in your team?
Oh, we're pretty lucky, actually. These guys are having their best year this year. So you've got, Michael Venus, who's played all 4 Grand Slams in doubles. He's ranked about 60 at the moment.
In doubles?
In doubles.
Yeah.
Artem Sitak's jumped up to, he's sort of about 65 in doubles, so he played US Open as well.
That?
Artem Sitak.
Yep.
Marcus Daniel, he's had a pretty handy year in doubles, and is not too bad in singles either. And then there's the old sort of stalwart Ruben Statham, who's been he's been injured, but he's a very
He's fully
good,
fit?
Yeah, yep.
Good.
But a good seasoned Davis Cup player, but he's had probably about 6 months off with injury.
Right.
But he's back to sort of full fitness.
Have you had chats with these lads?
Yeah, you keep in sort of regular contact and see how they're going.
You
that
haven't had
sort
them
of side of it.
together, though.
No, the last time was when we had that tight loss against China, so that was a tough one. And then we had a bye during the year, so that's a bit of not easy.
Chinese Taipei, what do you know about them?
Yeah, they've got one very highly ranked guy, top sort of 40 player, so he hasn't played for them since 2011. So
Has he been injured or what happened?
no, he just, they can't come to contractual arrangements of whether he plays or not. So he's, I'd say he'd be making more money on the tour than what he gets paid to play Davis Cup. So that's his thing. But the other guys are all seasoned guys as well. So they played a lot of ties. They're ranked from about 110 through to about 300.
Right.
So similar to our guys.
Yes.
So yeah, it is going to be a really tough tie.
The surface you've got, is that foreign to them?
No, they'll be used to it. Hopefully it's a little bit quicker than what they normally play on. They tend to play on a slower hard court over in Asia. I think it'll suit us pretty well, and with our doubles guys, they want sort of shorter points, and the doubles guys that are playing singles they won't be keen to go 5 sets running around the back. They'll be wanting to shorten
Now, it is
up.
best of 5 in the singles, isn't it?
Yes.
On opening day?
Yes.
Yeah. What happens in the doubles?
Best of 5.
Still best of 5?
Best of 5,
So
yep.
there's a heap of tennis, guys, I tell you. You've got an afternoon. Well, what time do you kick your tie off? 11?
We're looking at 3 o'clock on Friday.
3 o'clock?
3 o'clock on, is it 2 o'clock?
No,
we go.
11.
Oh, 11.
Here we
We
go.
went early again.
11 o'clock, yeah.
We are early. 11 a.m. on the Friday.
All right.
2 p.m. on Saturday.
Yep.
Back to 11 a.m. on Sunday.
Right. Now, I can tell you that the bloke that sits through the wall here is older than us all combined, I would think. He did a tie where the opening singles, they started at 11, and I think he switched the lights off at 5 to 12 at night. So it's value for money, guys. I tell you, if it does go to that, Hunt was probably involved in one of those, I would have thought, because he just didn't want to go back to the pub. I think he just wanted to stay on the court. So it's action tennis. There is no two ways about it. It's very, very important. It's cutthroat, so every point is vital. What happens in payment, Neil, to Davis Cup? It's the desire to play for the country versus picking up the dollars?
Look, there's probably a question that's better for Tennis New Zealand than for me to comment on, but Tennis New Zealand will be looking to make sure that they field the best possible team.
Right.
And obviously there'll be some incentives involved to be able to do that.
But the point I'm making, Alistair, they chase the big pot of gold every week, don't they? This is a country thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They get paid.
Yeah.
They get
which is
paid
fine.
here. They do their contracts with them, so on a sort of per campaign basis, like most of the sports, and they get paid pretty well for the week. So it's.
But when you get them together, you reinforce who they're playing for, don't you?
Exactly. Look, they all love playing for their country, and that's you can see in their past results they've all competed really well, and they've made themselves available most of the time.
Yeah, have some of them had to give up, for this weekend, have they had to give up the opportunity to play somewhere else?
Yeah, well, a lot of guys, they're on their best years, their rankings are high, so they're getting in, big tournaments. Mike's in Vienna at the moment, Artem's in Stockholm, all playing ATP events. So, they've got good opportunities to earn some big money, and they're trying to get their rankings up for Aussie Open.
Right.
So, for them to travel back here, they give up a week of training, play, and then in reality, if they want to go back to Europe, it's a 2 or 3 week swing. So
it's a decent old push,
big
isn't it?
investment.
It is, yeah. Look, Al's made some very good points in there. Tennis is essentially an individual sport. It's like golf. So for these guys who are touring the world, they're playing for themselves, they're playing for their career. But when they get back into Davis Cup, they're playing for their country, and that's big. And I'm sure that Al will be reinforcing that for them, if it needs, in fact, reinforcing.
They've had a guy to actually tell them what the hell they're playing for.
Well, I've heard him, and they won't be taking anything away from
Are
them.
there ranking points at stake in Davis Cup?
No.
No. So, okay, they're here purely and simply to represent.
Yes.
And
Represent
win
the
it.
country.
Yes.
That's the big thing. Yeah. Exciting stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
Fantastic. Great for Canterbury.
Facilities for people coming. Indoor centre might be foreign to a lot of you. You may never have been there. But, I mean, we've played in some weird places, I've got to tell you, in Christchurch. You remember that, Hunty? Remember we played at Pioneer Stadium and the roof leaked, and it was good fun, wasn't it? That was real good fun, that, yeah. That ain't going to happen at the indoor centre, is it?
Well, we're hoping the roof's not going to leak, and hopefully it won't. I'm sure it won't. With the demise of the centre court, the stadium centre court, the outdoor court that you referenced earlier on.
It's worth going down and have a look at it.
Oh, look, it is. It's something to behold, but you know, that's another story in itself. What we're going to be doing is building some grandstand seating within the indoor centre, obviously. There'll be corporate hospitality on both sides of the court at court level. There's lounge facilities.
Food and drink available for the punters.
It'll be great. It'll be a great atmosphere. Indoors, of course. We can raise the roof. You know, so they've
Just
got,
give me one more tip, a bit of advice. Have you got the right flag for the opposition? How do you remember what happened one day? But we won't go into that story.
Yeah.
Not only was it wrong, but they hung it upside down. Oh, not good. Yeah. So you got the flag organised for Chinese Taipei.
All that detail, and that's just part of the event.
It's got to be done right.
Yeah, you've got to get it right, and I can tell you now, if we don't get it right, and if Canterbury sports fans don't turn up to this, we won't be getting it back for a while, I'd say.
How are the ball boys? Are they all excited?
Yeah, they are.
Are they in training?
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
That's a work of art, how they do that.
You know, they've got to know what they're doing as well.
Yeah. Okay, when we come back, a chance for you to go. Over the weekend, we've got 2 family passes. That's 2 adults and 2 kids, courtesy of Tennis Canterbury, and we do appreciate that very much. We'll ask you a simple question, and all you got to do is ring in. Back in a moment for the last part of Red and Black Sport this week. Welcome back for the last time. I posed these 2 likely lads a question. Could they identify the tie that I've got on? And I tell you what, they got pretty jolly close, I've got to say. Neil, what do you reckon it is?
Well, I can tell that it's a Davis Cup symbol on it, so I'm sure there's a story behind it, Pete.
Does the non-playing captain get given a Davis Cup tie?
Yeah.
If you win it, I'll give it to you.
There you
go.
There you
You
go.
heard it first here on Red and Black Sport. I'll give him my tie. It is the official tie which is made for presidents of the international body, and I was given it by the president here at Wilding Park some years ago, and I've resurrected it because it's very, very special. So it's called a Davis Cup tie, so is this. So there we are. That was the question. I'll have a question for you out there before we go, though, that's for sure. All right, come back. The atmosphere and playing indoors at Wilding Park, does it create its own problems for you, Alistair, as the coach and manager?
No. Look, I think for us, you know, Wilding Park historically has been a massive Davis Cup venue for, you know, in New Zealand. A lot of New Zealand ties there. Always been pretty successful in getting big crowds and
But is it a
huge
difficult
support.
arena to play indoors?
No, it's good. I mean, from a player's point of view, and you know, captains wise, you're getting the guys ready on day one. You know what the surface is, what the environment's going to be like. There's no weather problems. There's no sun problems.
So when do our team assemble?
Sunday. This Sunday.
Great.
Yep.
When do Chinese Taipei arrive?
Monday, I think.
Is it Monday then coming?
Friday. Yeah, Friday next week we find. Yeah. Okay,
exactly.
so you do get a bit of time together and to practice. And
they need sort of 4 or 5 days to,
Yeah.
you know, there'll be a fair bit of jet lag and stuff in there to acclimatise and then get used to the surface and balls and, you know, that sort of side of it.
One of the big parts surrounding Davis Cup is, and I think it's going to be Thursday, is it? And that's where the team is named and the draw is made as to who plays who. You'll have your thoughts on who you want to play early on. Time, when's that?
Thursday, 11 a.m.
Right.
At Wilding Park. So that's the official tie draw.
Right.
Yep.
We will have a crew down there and we'll cover it for you. It'll be in the 5 o'clock news. And Alistair, you've formed your team. You know who you really want to play with.
Yeah, you've got the 4 guys, but you know they've been playing a lot of tennis, so we get them here, get the physio to have a look at them, and then we can, you know, I've got in my mind who I'd like to
What's
play.
the ideal draw? You know, you've got to play the number 1 from the other country at some stage. What would be ideal?
Well, 2 plays 1, you know, 1 plays 2 each day, and that's what it is. So, yeah, I mean, some guys prefer playing first, and some guys, you know, don't handle pressure as well.
And some guys obviously will back up from the first singles into the doubles.
Yes,
Yeah.
possibly.
Yeah.
You know, we've probably got a bit more option now. You know, the 4 guys are all playing pretty well.
And playing good doubles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
Probably the last couple of years we've sort of had 1 or 2 guys, but yeah, no, it's going to be a good team.
So the tie is alive on the Saturday, isn't it?
Yes.
Regardless of what happens on the Friday. So it's a great weekend, I can tell you that. And it's also a bit disappointing if it fizzes on the Saturday, but I'm sure that won't happen. They're pretty determined that won't happen. Just digressing from that for a minute, it's bon voyage to you, mate. You're leaving the CEO's role.
It is, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah. I finish up early November.
Right.
Yeah, so what a great gig to go out on.
Absolutely.
Not
On your
bad, is
CV, I won the Davis Cup.
Yeah.
Any thoughts what you're going to do?
No, not really. Look, I could stay in the sports sector. I could go back to my marketing career, but or could combine both. Looking forward to a bit of a break, actually. She's been a tough gig the last
What have you done? A
years.
couple of years? 3 years?
3 years.
3 years, yeah. Tell me the development out at the new showgrounds. I know you're a great advocate for that. Where are we sitting with that?
Look, it's taken a long time to come together, but really council are really just starting to push it through with some certainty, I think.
Who's going to go with you?
There's tennis, Canterbury hockey and Canterbury athletics. So the proceeds of the insurance from QE2 will be used for the athletics track.
And you're comfortable with the lie of the land?
Pretty much. We're a little bit unsure at this stage about what facilities tennis might have out there. We could be using it potentially as more of a satellite tennis centre than a
huge
main
development
tennis
out
centre.
past there too, of course, in the halls or Rolliston through that way.
Absolutely, and that's really one of the strategic importances of Ngā Wai, because it's going to be...
Wilding Park won't disappear?
No, I don't believe so.
Right.
No. We're
Too much history there, Alistair, isn't it?
Sure is.
Just to put a line through it.
Yeah.
Earthquake
There's a
or
lot
no
there.
earthquake, to hell with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. From a coaching point of view, the kids are still enthusiastic, are they? They still want to play tennis? Or they haven't been too disillusioned by what's happened?
No, I think it's coming back. Look, there was a couple of tough years, like Neil was saying. Winters were pretty grim. We still had the kids out there at sort of 6:30 in the morning in the frost and carry on. So,
But every sport was affected. by
every
it.
sport's affected. But I think it's coming back nicely, and that's what it is. But there's no shortage of kids and enthusiasm for sure.
The 14-15 season's open. How's your registrations?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, numbers good.
Yeah, in fact, one of the things I'm proudest of is that as a tennis community, we've reversed the decline in participation.
Right.
2009, 2010, it was 2011 it was downhill. So 2011-12 we reversed that. 12-13 season was stronger again, and the 13-14 season was even better. So our numbers are actually quite good.
As a past player, though, it is very, very important that you've got a profile to hang on to, isn't it? We need to create a couple of good tennis players, don't we, to raise the bar?
Well, that's a good thing, and with this Davis Cup, at the end of the day, whatever the results, we've got guys who are playing Grand Slams who now are coming to play. So you're going to see some great tennis.
And they're going to see it in the flesh, aren't they?
Yes.
It's not television.
No.
It's live. You're part of the atmosphere, and it's a huge atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah.
We need the crowd though to get in behind, don't we?
Oh, that's
vocal.
That's when we sort of floated the thing at the beginning of the year that maybe Christchurch might get a tie, and no one was happier than I was, and you would remember yourself how big ties used to be. There's some amazing old, Davis Cup stalwarts who have just followed it around the country and come down. We need all those people back, and Christchurch is known for a big crowd, and that's what we're...
A knowledgeable crowd too.
Yeah,
They know their tennis.
Yeah, fantastic.
I don't mean to actually cause a pun here, but the ball really is in your court. If you want Davis Cup tennis, guys, you've got to get there, and it's a fabulous occasion if you've never been to one. Just the parade out is great, Alan. It's all colour and it's so well done. Yeah.
And we haven't had a tie done well. People have tried to do it well, but it's a hard, like Neil's saying, it's a tough gig. But I think with a great crowd turning up, we'll get these ties again, and that's what it's all about.
So important for the city.
I'll tell you what, Pete, you cannot beat seeing a tennis ball hit live by those quality of players. You get an impression on television. But when you see it live, you would not believe how fast
and
that
for a
ball is
lot of
going.
people, because of the length of time since we've had a tie, it's just a great opportunity to be there. Can't push it hard enough. I've got 2 family passes to give away. I want to know New Zealand are playing who on 24, 25, 26 of October at the Indoor Centre. Looking forward to your calls, 3777 033. Give Marianne a yell, and you and your squeeze and kids can all go to the test. Best of luck, Al. Hope it all goes well, mate. Enjoy your retirement
Pete.
too.
Thank you.
Okay. See you next week for another Red and Black Sport.